were Rastafarians. And then, yeah, we studied to, we read the Bible together, we read this together, that together. And then I realized that that was where I belonged. So immediately I embraced it, and then I decided to, practice it.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. So then we're going to go back, and then obviously you must have been practicing your parents' religion before then. So your parents were Christians, Muslims?
Well, one thing people don't know about Rasta is that Rasta is not a religion. Okay. Saying, I don't see Rasta as a religion, it's just a way of life. Okay. Saying, yes, it's just a way of life. And basically, I was born a Muslim, yes?
Okay.
In the north. But Rasta became something that my ancestors did in the past. And then I realized that, no, this is the way in terms of what we should be doing now. It's not a religion. No.
Okay, so we go back to Muslim. So then what would have been your Muslim name?
Well, my father called me Ahmed.
Ahmed. Okay.
It means somebody you can trust. Yeah, that's the name my father gave me.
Well, you've lived up to your name.
I have. In fact, I have. Yes.
So growing up as a Muslim, obviously, pray 5 times, ignore pork, within a Muslim neighborhood. How was it? Silver spoon, golden spoon, hard life?
Well, I would say that a little difficult, because you would realize that with the Muslim faith, there are a lot of things you cannot do. Mm-hmm. Like, fornicating, this, that, alcohol, and a lot of that. And then growing up in that kind of society meant that there were a lot of things you could not do as a person. Mm-hmm. Even if you wanted to do that in hiding, it wasn't possible, because you feared that people would get to know about that, and it would, come out. So you would have to run away from, things like that. So I would say that, yeah, it was a little difficult, but I'm so grateful because it's shaping me for the future.
Good. Let me school, growing up and school. Now, little Birdie tells me you were extremely clever in school.
Well, a lot of people say that. Yeah, a lot of people say that, because, generally my father, was an educationist. My mother, same way, she just retired last year. So I would say that books were all over us. Reading almost anything on paper that was readable. You would have to read that. So at a very young age, in fact, I was exposed to a lot of material that, children my age, they did not have access to. So in school, I think I just read a little and then I was there. So I would say that, yeah, a lot of teachers said, yes, he was good, he was this, he was that. But I saw myself as a learning person.
That's good. At that time, what was your dream? Because we all grew up wanting to become maybe a banker, an architect, maybe a draftsman, a pilot. What was your dream then?
At a very young age, I think I wanted to become a doctor.
Okay.
Because I was a member of the Red Cross Society of Ghana. And so I wanted to become a doctor at a very young age. But after some time, I realized that I wanted to be a teacher instead. My father was a teacher, my mother a teacher, but I didn't see it as attractive until after some time, I think about the age of 18, 19, I realized that teaching was my thing. I love to teach people. I love to be able to impart knowledge. And yeah, from that time, I held on to that.
So from 18 onwards, all through tech, was that the plan, or when you got to tech, it changed?
No, it was still the plan. In fact, I wanted to become a teacher. So whatever I was doing, I made up my mind that ultimately I was going to be a teacher.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I find teaching one of the most honorable or humbling jobs. I don't know. When I meet someone and they tell me they're a teacher, I am very, very humble, because I think it's a serious responsibility for somebody to take upon themselves that this is what I'm going to do, impact children. It's beautiful.
Right.
So how did you stumble upon music if teaching was the focus?
My mother used to sing a lot. She would sing Dolly Parton, she would sing Eviano Ogoli, a lot of songs in the house, and she had this beautiful voice. And then sometimes I would sing along. Saying music was not entirely my thing. But after secondary school, I think somewhere in 93, from Tia Ahmadi Secondary School, I got home and I realized that I had to find myself doing something. So I went into writing, stage drama, this, that.
Drama?
Yes.
I see.
Yes, I was writing drama. I wrote a lot of drama. And I organized a group of people to come together and act. We called that the Ras Theatre Group. I think from there, we had some other people who were singing, some were rapping, some were doing poetry and all that. And I just got interested in music. I realized that it was something I liked and I could add it to whatever I wanted to become. So I took that as a hobby, more or less.
You see, taking music is good, but taking Rasta is a risk because, or reggae is a risk because I wouldn't see many people trying to invest in reggae. I don't know, maybe that time things might have been different. Did you take a risky course in terms of your musical career?
In fact, at that time, reggae was very, very popular, extremely popular.
Okay.
Yes, very, very. I mean, at that time, we had such artists as Ras Kimono who were selling platinum all over Africa, very popular. I mean, but after some time, it took a dive, a small dive. But I would say that I went into reggae not because of how popular it was, but I saw it as a tool to fight oppression, as a tool to fight injustice, and as a tool to educate. Saying reggae music hit me most. I mean, when I was a little boy, I used to, hear my mom listen to a lot of slows, a lot of countryside music and all that. But when reggae music was playing, I felt I was part of it. The message that came out of it taught me a lot. Pan-Africanism, it taught me a lot about myself as a black person. Saying, so all in all, I went into reggae music. In fact, reggae music chose me. Saying, because it wasn't something that I planned. The more I listened to reggae music, the more I was attached to this kind of genre. So I went into it not because of how many bucks I will get or how popular it was, but as a calling. You see, and even up to now, I don't really mind who wants to invest and who does not want to invest. I am doing it because I think that it is a calling from the Almighty. I have to contribute my quota so that at the end of the day, when I'm going home, I can have a handshake from Jah. He will tell me that, yes, I did a good job. So reggae music is just, and I'm wondering if there wasn't reggae music, I wonder what kind of life I would have led, honestly.
So for you, it's an evangelism?
Big time. Big time. It's for me to be able to have a mouthpiece. Things that I will not be able to meet a minister or a president to talk to. I put that in my music, poetry, and throw it out. When it hits them, they will feel it. See? Yeah, so reggae music is that very strong tool that I discovered, or that discovered me, and decided to channel my way of life through that. And I've been so thankful to that. Yeah.
Wow. How did you end up in Hits FM?
Well, I would say that I was in Takrady, doing my own thing. And then after some time, Happy FM decided to seek my services. So I came over, and once I was at Happy FM, Kwesi, who was then the general manager of Joy FM and Hits FM, called me and told me that a man called Kwesi Chum wanted to talk to me because he had listened to me on Happy FM and liked what I was doing. So I asked him who he was. He said, oh, he's the boss of blah, 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 blah. Saying, so I met them, and then they asked me to become part of Hits FM, and they gave me a very huge task. They told me at that time, listen, we need you to rescue Hits FM, because Hits FM just came. We need an identity for it. We need a hard hitter. We need somebody who would be able to draw the masses to this radio station. And within 1 year, we wanted to be able to accomplish that. So they put me on probation. Saying, and yes, I was on it. I was so happy. I like people to let me feel like, yes, I am the Moses leading them out of Egypt. Saying, so I felt good about it, and I decided I was going to take that mantle. So from the first day when I sat on the radio, it was nothing but fireworks. So in less than a month, I was told that my probation was over. It was supposed to have been like 6 months or, half that. Yeah, so I'm so glad, to say that at least I was able to accomplish the reason for which they brought me from Happy FM to Hits FM.
See, because before I joined the family, you know, I used to tune in. I used to go to the car wash. And every time I get there, Black Rasta was blaring out of their speakers, you know. And I'm thinking, this guy is daring, you know. And, you know, but don't you think you are too deep? Have your audience grasped what you're saying? Don't you think you're too deep?
Well, sometimes I try to come down to the level of the, grassroots people. See, as I said, I was exposed to a lot of material at a very young age. Some of them I'm still trying to digest and break down and feed to my audience. See, that is why on the radio I speak the ghetto language. I speak patois, down to earth broken English. May I come, may I go, may I eat, may I run, may I, you know, that kind of English, so that the grassroots people can interact. See, because when I start speaking the Queen's English, I feel like I'm losing my audience. So it's always been like that. And I'm so glad to tell you that the message has sunk so deep, deeper than, the fangs of a cobra in a human flesh. Deeper, really, really deep. Because I go out and I ask people, what's your name? And the first thing I hear now is Ama, Kwame, Kojo. At first they would have told me Nelson, saying Riverson, Damson. Those kind of names. And I've even met people who have told me, well, I know that you don't like those foreign names, so I'm called a Kwa. Okay. And I'm like, woo. So the message is sinking. I meet ministers who tell me how much they have benefited from my class. It's not a class where you get upgraded or, it is a class where you would learn, and nobody is beyond learning.
I'm going to take a break here. When I come back, I know you are absolutely against our coat of arms. And so I'll come back, we'll just briefly discuss it, and then we'll move on the conversation. Don't move, it's going to get even more exciting. Well, hello and welcome back. And as I said, just need to find out who my brother is. And I'm sure as we get to talk, you're also finding out who he is. Now, before we went on the break, I know he's seriously against the coat of arms. I just wanted to go through it. Black. It's a coat of arms, 2 pair of eagles, cross in the middle, there's a castle, there's a lion, there's a cross, swords,
That's
and I
right.
think there's a mine.
That's right.
Why would I say, why would you be against it?
Well, everything about that thing is an abomination for us as a people in this country and us as Africans. What is the coat of arms? It's supposed to be a kind of a symbol that represents a country.
Sure.
Our coat of arms, does it represent us? That is the question we have to ask. First and foremost, that lion you talked about. A football fan might just say that it's a Manchester lion or Liverpool lion, but that is the Scottish lion, the Lion of Scotland.
I see.
That is it. If you look at it, it's not an ordinary lion. It's a very hungry lion that has pulled itself flat like that. Before I even get into the coat of arms thing, who designed the coat of arms? The man who designed the coat of arms, One Amonkwe, who designed the coat of arms, designed it before independence.
I see.
Yes, it came into being on the 5th of March 1957. So at that time, who was in charge of the country? It was the colonial master. Queen Elizabeth called him and gave him money. He was commissioned to draw, paint, or whatever, design the national symbol of the coat of arms. So he was dictated to, and he sold out. He sold his people. So recently when he died, and they were saying they're going to give him a national burial, they're going to do this, I was sitting back and was crying. What kind of ignorance is this? What did he serve the country on? On what basis were we supposed to, honor this man? With all respect, he sold us to the white people. The mind that you see in there was the white man's way of teasing us and telling us, well, we came there and we stole your gold and diamond and went away. Saying the white man was only interested in the places that had the gold and the diamond. That's how come the northern region is not developed. That's how come the Volta is not developed and some other areas. He was only interested in where he could find his gold, his diamond, his that. The cross that divides the thing into four is called the St. George's Cross.
St. George's Cross.
What has St. George got to do with our history? What has St. George got to do with our thing? And the so-called castle, which is supposed to be called a dungeon, because it's a place they kept slaves. Now they have changed the whole thing into a castle. How can a dungeon become a castle? It's an insult to our ancestors, our forefathers, who were sent in there, slaughtered, our grandmothers raped, children killed, and you glorify the place and call it a castle. So when I look at this, and these are the things that are contained in there. And if you check it out, the coat of arms only represents two people. Those two swords that are showing that way represent Ashanti. See? The stool there represents Ashanti. See? And a few other tribes in the south where the white man could find gold. And for all the white man is telling you, these are the only places I know of in Ghana or the Gold Coast. So when we come and we're doing something, we need to have something that represents all of us. Recently, I think last week when the MPs, started agitating and saying that they have to take out the Christianborg Castle from it because it's no more the seat of government, I said, we've been talking about this ages ago. It's not only the castle. The St. George's Cross has to vanish. That Murga sick lion has to vanish. And all those funny things in there do not represent us.
And I know you have the issue with the eagle as well.
Yes. I mean, those eagles. How many eagles are in Ghana? What is our national animal? When you go to Nigeria, you find a lot of eagles in that country. So they have decided to call themselves the Super Eagles. I'm talking about their football team. In Ghana, we say we are the Black Stars. Why? Because of the Black Star liner that Marcus Garvey spoke about a long time ago.
Then one would argue that there's a black star hanging on one of the eagles.
Oh, yes. I mean, I'm going to talk about that Black Star. And funnily, if you look at that Black Star you're talking about, it has a ribbon around its neck, that thing, and then the star hangs there. Unfortunately, that is not the Ghana flag. Even though it is red, gold, green. At that time, they hadn't even come out with a flag. Remember, this was 5th March 57. Not independence yet. So there was no flag. Kwame Nkrumah was the one who commissioned Theodora to come out, Theodosia, I beg your pardon, to come out with a flag. So at that time there was no flag. Where was the red, gold, green from? It's all in support of whoever commissioned Amonkwe to design that flag. So when we look at it historically, we don't have to be fooled by some of the colors. Even if presently they represent us, they didn't represent us then. So the mindset for which these things were brought in at that time should be abolished.
Do you have a recommendation of what we could use?
Yes.
Some symbols we can put in.
Beautiful.
What animals would we use?
Presently, Akrantie is making more money for Ghana than gold, according to forestry statistics and so on and so forth. That means the yellow, even in our national flag, is becoming almost nothing, courtesy politicians. Why don't you remove the yellow there and put Akrantie there? Because you said that yellow is supposed to represent the gold, and that is the wealth of the nation. Now Akrantie is making more money, grass cutter. So what are we saying? We have degraded the gold to the point that it's meaningless now. See, we need to have things that will represent us as a nation. If I was to design the coat of arms, oh my God, have mercy, I will put in a lot of things that will represent every single tribe, every single area in this present day Ghana, and a few other things that will represent the whole of Africa. Not this mockery that we have right now as, a coat of arms. When I travel outside Ghana and people ask me about a coat of arms, I'm embarrassed. Colonial legacy. A country of people who claim they know too much can argue from morning till night on morning shows, and this thing is staring in your eyes like that, and nobody is fighting that. It's unfortunate.
My brother, what inspires your music?
Well, musically, I think that when I go out and I see people suffering, I see the injustices and all that, I get inspired. Seeing? And that is able to push me on. Seeing? Yeah, and Jah, the Almighty, I mean, He's the Father of all inspiration. Because I want to see a better world. I want to see a world of equality. Ghetto youth and whoever should come to, gather at almost the same pedestal. That is what inspires me in life.
I grew up with the perception that being Rastafarian was not the best thing to do. I shamefully now would say, I look down on somebody who had dreadlocks. Oh no, he's a bad person. Oh, he's a weed smoker. Oh no. He can't be your friend, he's got dreadlocks. It took me a long time to break out of that psyche to where I am today. However, I look around me and there are many people who still have that perception that, oh, he's dreadlocked. Even Valley View University said, oh, we're not going to admit you if you have dreadlocks. Was it, when you were choosing to become Rastafarian, with this stigma, did you consider all this?
Yes, I did. I come from a family of car driving people who have money and all that. So, my people also look down on people who had locks. But I would say that after some time, I grew deeper than just topical issues. Because a human being is divided into two, the physical part and the spiritual part. When you take the physical part out, the spiritual part is the same. If I look at your spiritual part and his spiritual part and my spiritual part, it's the same. You can't tell what difference it is. So in the eyes of Jah, that is how we are. But I do understand that your physical appearance also sometimes can speak volumes about you. A lot of people have come into Rasta and messed it up in terms of their carelessness and maybe irresponsible behavior, just like with every other, group of people. I would say that what pushed me more into Rasta was the fact that it gave me a mouth. I became the mouthpiece for the downtrodden. I realized that Rasta was deeper than just having locks on your head, smoking marijuana and shouting, Jah! Rastafari, trying to live in a kind of, abstract world. I realized Rasta meant gaining knowledge. Because a lot of people are going to approach you and ask you questions that are deeper than what you learn in the classroom. So Rasta meant that be ready. Be ready to answer. Be ready to teach. So it gave me the chance to be able to explore. So I chose it. I quickly went into it. But of course, I had problems. Parents, you are the son of this, you are the son of that. You don't have to do that. I said, well, I'm sorry, but I think that Jah chose me. And judge me by other things. Let me go to school, see if my grades are good or bad. See if I get into drugs or not. And from the day I decided to become Rasta, in no time my music was on BBC. In no time I was flying all over. In no time, I was excelling in school over and over. But at a point I even saw the school as just get a certificate and get some respect. Because what I was taught in school, now I look back on that and I smile and say, what? They helped the white man to brainwash me. Seeing a lot of things that I learned in school, like Okonfo Anochi, which I keep saying on the radio and people think is controversial. They tell you, Kugwa, he blah, 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 blah. He did this, golden stool, blah, blah. And my research and thinking and meditation, all these things brought together, taught me that the man truly was an Nzima man. He came all the way from Nzima land. And a lot of things, when I start breaking them up, you realize that, these things make sense. Like the story of Sir Charles McCarthy. The Asantes fought him, and when he realized that, yes, he was going to be killed, he shot himself, and then the Asantes cut off his head. A way of praising the white man. No, Sir Charles McCarthy was shot and killed by the Asantes, first in his foot. He fell down, they moved on to him and cut off his head and used it to drink pito. See? But they will glorify their own histories and make the thing look like gold. Me as a Rasta man, this gives me the chance not to swallow everything hook, line, and sinker. I go deeper. Right.
meeting Sakina, she wasn't Rastafarian when you met her, do you?
She wasn't, no.
How did her parents, she comes home with a Rasta man.
Right.
The average parent would probably say, "Oi, are you sure what you're doing? Did you go through the same thing, or did they welcome you?"
Well, fortunately, I will say that I had become so popular. I had become so popular, so many people had come to realize that this Rasta man on the radio was not an ignorant Rasta man. I dressed very well. I was neat and attractive and really handsome. See? So, I mean, everywhere I went, parents wanted me to be called their in-law. So when I met Sakina, it was at my launch. I remember I was launching my second album, More Fire album, when we met. See? So when we met and started talking, and she didn't say anything about my locks, not even one day. Not even for a second.
Wow.
When I met her parents, then I even used to leave my hair around. They, welcomed me nicely, and probably because I also spoke their language, Dagbani.
Okay.
See? So they saw me as somebody probably extraordinary. And it worked perfectly. I never had any problem with the family in terms of my locks. And when we, got into a union, family union, she started wearing her locks too. So at the point of saying bye-bye, she had locks that flowed all the way to her chest. Long locks. And I never told her to grow locks. And some members of her family also started growing locks. And up to this day, they still have locks.
So you made an impact?
Strong impact. And the joy is in the fact that I never for once said, you have to grow your locks, or you have to leave this. No. By my exemplary life, they were able to adapt quickly. I got home one day and she said, "Oh, I want to lock my hair. What do I do?" I said, "You've been with me for some time now. Teach yourself." And that was it.
You're a vegetarian?
I am higher than a vegetarian. I'm vegan.
Absolutely no animal?
No animal, no
eggs?
Ice water, no eggs, no flour, white flour, nothing like that.
Wow.
I eat vegetables, and I eat, from the plant family, strictly from the plant family. No fish, no eggs.
Did Sakina also become vegan or vegetarian? Or
well, she became what was known as lacto-vegetarian. She ate chicken, and that was it. No eggs, no meat, no blah, 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 blah. See? Yeah, but when I met her, she was eating almost everything. But the rest of her family, some members of her family, became vegan.
Wow.
Just like me.
Now, this is a sad bit because this is somebody you built a bond with.
Right.
And you have to say goodbye. What was the cause of her death, if I may ask?
Well, I will say basically that, we lived together for 10 solid years. And if somebody had told me that it would happen to me, I would say no. Why? We were young people. She went away at the age of about 36. See? And I was 38. See? Well, I will say that, she had a first child, and it was done by cesarean operation.
Okay.
Second one was another cesarean operation. But she started having, stomach aches and all that. And we checked it out. The doctors said it was ulcer. That was what they said. But, the symptoms were deeper than ulcer. See? So, I would say that the doctors said it was ulcer that took her away, unfortunately.
How did you handle it?
Well, when it started happening, we had to see doctors here. They worked on her. Sometimes to get all right. It's funny. I remember there were times that she would say, "Oh, take me to the hospital." We'll be driving, and halfway, she would say, I want to tell you something. I'll say, "What is it?" Say, "I don't want to go to the hospital again. I'm okay." See? Then we will get back home late in the night. So there was a day I said, "Listen, whether it's okay or not, we have to see these doctors." We went and they checked her up and all that. But there was no change. See? And I was alone in the house. The brother had gone to school. I was alone with her in the house. I said, "Me going to work, and you alone, anything could happen. Let me move you to your parents. She agreed. I took her to her parents. And in just less than a week, it was surprising. I mean, she called me and told me that she was coming home, she was healed, she was okay. I was in ward and I had gone for a performance. When I came home, she wasn't there and I called. She said, oh, my sickness came back again. Or, I don't know, maybe tomorrow I'll see if I can come. And that was it.
Wow.
The following day, I remember it was the same day Malcolm, fell off and killed a lot of people. See? I was on the radio talking about the Malcolm thing and I got several calls coming from her family. And normally when I'm on the radio, I don't answer no call. But I said, oh, this is a sick person. Probably she's healed now and she's on the way coming. She told me she was, going to come home. So let me just tell them, oh, I'm on air, I'm waiting. I'll pick her up at the station or whatever. When I answered the call, that was the ugly news that was staring at me. I couldn't take it because it wasn't something, once people get sick for a period, you are able to tell, oh, this might not work. But in a case, it wasn't anything like that at all. But in all things,
were you able to continue your show? Or?
No, I couldn't. I just left it, and then I remember I jumped into the car. A lot of people would say, hey, don't go, let somebody drive you. But I didn't. I just got into the car and drove all the way to, before that, I had visited her in Takrade, and she was okay. She said everything was okay. Well, I want to see it as, the making of Jah, and I can't wait to reunite.
How are you dealing with the children?
How
do you explain to them?
It made me become more sympathetic towards the children, because at their age.
How old were they then?
Now, one is 4 and the other is 7.
Wow.
4 and 7. So that's a year ago. They were so young. I remember when I drove there to pick them up, to take them to their mother. They were telling everybody in the school, yeah, we are going to our mother. We're going to buy chocolates. She's going to give us chocolates. We'll come and give to all of you. And at that time, I knew that, saying. So when they went out, we were both in the car, we drove away. And it was a sad moment. I wanted to keep it away from them, but calls came in and I had to answer, and they got to realize. So the smaller one started weeping, and then he asked me, when people die, where do they go? I said, oh, they go to God. Are they going to be buried in a cemetery? I said, yes. Saying, well, I was so sad for them. For me as a man, at least I'll be able to contain it in a way and move on, understanding that it's a journey for everybody. But them as children, what are we going to be telling them when they are growing up? So what I did was I had to go into therapy myself, read about life and death, read more and more and more, contact a lot of spiritual people, the Buddhists, the Muslims, the Christians, and get to a fuller understanding of life and death and how to explain to little children. And the Jehovah's Witness book helped me so much, saying about how to approach little children and tell them about the loss of a loved person. And I remember he said, don't say that they traveled, because they will never come back and the children will feel neglected. They traveled and left us. Tell them that they've gone to reunite with God, where we will all go after some time, and they are praying, for you. And for me, it helped me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 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 After you played a tribute for Sakina, there's a lady that plays Sakina in the video.
Yeah.
Is she an actress or is she?
Well, what happened was that I was just standing in front of the studio one day and I saw her pass and I thought that she was pretty, So, and I realized that she was linked to Bolare.
Okay.
So I spoke with Bolare if I could use her. And then, it came out that, honestly, I was going to use the girl for a different video. And the video was called Amina. Sakina loved that video like hell. She loved that song. She thought that the song was the biggest I ever wrote. And I remember I wrote that song at Potsing. Well, when it happened, she passed. I changed the name from Amina to Sakina because I remember she teased me by asking, so why didn't you put Sakina there rather than Amina? I said, or do you have another girlfriend called Amina? So when she passed,
the usual.
yeah, the original song was not for her, but in the eyes of Jah, it was meant for her. So when she passed, I put Amina there and re-sang it. But so both songs are on the album to tell this story now.
At least you played your part. At least you played your part. Now I think you're one of the first artists that sang a song for Obama.
That's right, the very first.
At that time, nobody had a hope that, you know, black president from the West. Where did you find the hope from?
Well, I remember it was with the same Sakina in our small ghetto room. See, I remember I had a friend, Ras Bumba, who is a bassist, who was also in the room there. And then I was listening to a radio station. And all of a sudden, the people were like, oh, yes, Barack Obama wants to be the president of America, and the way he's doing his politics, people are loving him. And I'm like, Barack Obama?
Well, let's take a walk. What are we
yeah, man. Barack Obama, this name sounds very, very nice. Barack Obama. Who is this? So I said, then at that time, some inspiration just started hitting me. And a melody hit me. Mama, mama, come make me talk about Barack Obama. What is this melody? But Black Rasta never makes songs for politicians. So I said, oh, forget it. This is from the devil. I will never make a song for a politician. But it kept coming. It kept coming. Later that day when I was walking out of my house, I was just taking a stroll. And then I saw Zap Mallet. Oh my God, have mercy. He's told me, look, I've built a new station here, and that station is going to record you.
Stay put, because I really need to hear this. When we come back, we're going to hear all about Barack Obama and how they met. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back. And just before we went to the break, you know, we're talking about him making a song for Barack Obama. Barack Obama is now in town and they don't want you to meet him.
Yeah, I mean, when that song came out, it was a big one. Honestly, I made that song just because I wanted, people to know that I had supported a black man. I didn't do it for, any commercial, whatever. But it came out and it was big. People liked it, and I can say that a lot of Ghanaians got to know about Barack Obama through that song. So when he came, a lot of people just felt that it would have just been right for Black Rasta to be invited there. But a few politicians felt that, oh, Black Rasta might tell Barack Obama that this person or that country or this, that is doing this. He doesn't know how to control his mouth. He speaks anyhow and all that. Well, they had forgotten about who brought that glory. See? And try as I did, they didn't want to make it possible. So I forgot about it. I went to Cape Coast. I went there because I knew Barack Obama was going to come there. So that I would walk up to him and break all security and tell him that, brother, it's me. I made that song for you. That was what was on my mind. That night I performed there. The following morning, very early in the morning, I got a call from the castle that, listen, you need to come immediately. Where are you? I said, I'm around. Come, please. Where are you? Look, on the way from Cape Coast to Accra, I had about 7 more calls from the castle. Obviously, because Barack Obama had asked, where is that guy who made the song for me? And politicians started sweating, looking around. Oh, but you were the one who said we shouldn't invite him. But you were the one, but you said this. The president said he wanted to see him. So I came. I remember I was the last person to walk through the gates. And then the soldiers were shooting. Pop, 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 pop. I walked through, and then, they gave me a table next to Barack Obama.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So when he came, and people were struggling to take pictures, and some of the politicians who did not want me to see Barack, like Zita, Okankwe, and all those, and they know it is no secret. The whole world knows that Zita was one person who, for one reason or the other, did not want me to see Obama, which was unfortunate. It's a long history. But to cut it short, they were all there. And I remember that day, some of the ministers told me some personal things. And at the end of the day, they said, listen, you and Zita need to smoke the peace pipe. So she came over, shook my hand, I shook her hand. We embraced, and they took pictures. And the pictures were all over in the media. And they even used that for, a few artifacts being sold on the street. So I met Obama when he came and was walking around and people were taking pictures. You know, everybody was standing up. The way they were rushing, ministers. I said, woo, Black Rasta, you don't stand a chance. And I was wearing my long gown. To be very honest with you, I was very hot. I was the only Rasta man in there with my turban. But my name was written on my gown. When he was waving at people, he started shaking people's hands. But when he realized there were so many hands coming up, he just decided to stand afar and walk through. Then he saw somebody standing there alone. And then I realized that he craned like this, saw the name, and he said, Black Rasta, my brother, come. And everybody turned to see. And then I came in, he embraced me and people started clapping. And, the hypocritical people that we are, people started requesting for the CDs there. Did you bring the CDs? Where are the CDs? Where are the CDs? I want to buy these ones. I want to. All because Barack Obama recognized me and embraced me. But at that time, there's another one man that I have to thank so very much. He's now also in the Castle, Bafo, formerly of Radio Gold. Bafo Bunny, that's his name. He also played a very instrumental role. He made them start playing the music. And when Barack came in and heard the music, he knew he was at the right place. So we have some pictures and all that.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah, man.
That's a beautiful. But my brother, you've won so many awards.
Right.
Which one stands out for you?
Well, I will say that there was this award that was a national one. It came from the National Awards, blah, blah, blah. That was the one that I received. I remember Aliu Mahama was one of the signatories, former vice president, and it recognized me as somebody who had contributed positively to the upliftment and the education of the youth.
Wow.
And for me, that was, the greatest award I got. I never got an award from Barack Obama. Remember, that was the year I was banned from the Ghana Music Awards because they said I talked too much. I had insulted them. Remember? That was the biggest song on the whole continent. And in Ghana, the Ghana Music Awards felt that it wasn't popular enough to be nominated among 6 others, not even to have won. And that year, they gave it to Wusu Tainago, Ochami Kwame. With no disrespect, that song was hugely bigger. I'm talking about the circulation. I'm not talking about the artistic value. But they gave it to Ochami Kwame. And I was banned for insulting behavior according to Charterhouse.
One Love Kubolo. What happened? One Love Kubolo. What happened?
Well,
because I know there was a scuffle in front of Joy.
An unfortunate thing happened. We had been going to and fro, and then at a point I felt that, well, as men, we should just forget it. But he wanted an apology from me for calling him something he didn't like. Well, he had also called me something that I didn't like, and I also demanded an apology from him, and he did that first. But all in all, I am so glad that we have been able to seal this. I met him at multimedia outside. I was driving and I saw him, so I approached him. I said, "Bros, how are you doing?" He said, "Fine." I said, "What is happening? You keep going on and on and on talking about me. For more than a year now, I haven't said anything about you, but you keep talking about me." He said, "Oh, if you don't apologize to me, I can't help you." When he said that, I said, "When you insulted my mom, would you apologize if I asked you?" I realized he was surprised. He couldn't remember when he insulted my mom, but I think later when he went and checked YouTube, he realized that he did that. He was surprised. I would have thought that he would have said something like, "Oh, did I insult your mom? Oh, if I did, then forget about it." But he said, "Even if I insulted your mom, you cannot do anything. And I can even insult your father and nothing will happen." In fact, I couldn't take it.
Yeah, that's pushing it a bit too far.
Yeah, man. See, and at that time, he was trying to move away from me, like, shove me off. Before I realized adrenaline, I gave him, a slap. Saying, we had a small, it wasn't as big as the, media. We struggled a little bit in front of Joy. People came and talked to us. We went that way. But the beauty of it all is, after all these things, me and him have been able to realize that I apologized to him. That is not me. I don't go around fighting people. My fight is on the radio and it's done when I'm done. Saying, he apologized for, insulting my mom. I realized he didn't realize that he had done that. And after that, I called him a couple of times, and I think that
you smoked the peace pipe.
Yeah, it's cool. It's
That's
cool.
Good. That's good.
And I'm glad that he accepted. That's the beauty of the thing. That yes, as grown-up men, I think we have better things to do than just, and then we moved on.
Because you're on air every day, and you need to be inspiring, you need to be moving, and some of the things you say, as I said, are very, very deep.
Right.
How do you pick your topics on a daily basis?
In fact, what I do is I don't do anything. I don't plan. Because I leave everything to the Almighty. What I am doing is a spiritual warfare. It is not something that is physical. So I don't plan it as a human being. I walk into the street. I might be coming from the house, and I'll say, when I come, I'm going to be playing culture and Bob Marley. But on the way, I hear somebody playing some Evi Edna-Ogoli, and it inspires me. And one song at the beginning carries me through the whole day. So I don't plan. I let Jah do the planning for me. And I come into the studio and I deliver.
But you're a very spiritual person.
Yes. Yes, I am. In fact, like I said earlier, the human being is divided into two. Physical and spiritual. If you satisfy one and leave the other, you will suffer. So for me, I'm trying to satisfy both. I chant down my enemies spiritually. When people are fighting me, I normally don't fight them back. I just go up on the hills and chant them down. In no time, you realize that they have either forgotten about me. I become invisible in their eyes. That is what I do, and I think it's helped me all these years.
Let's talk about reggae music.
Right.
Now, my little research tells me that the Nazarenes were all reggae people, and that indeed even Moses, they were chanting reggae back then.
Well,
briefly, before I sign up.
Yeah, man. Number 6 has it in the Bible. And for me, I see the Bible as our own history. See, it's been corrupted now, yes, but it represents us in a way. The Nazarenes, yes. The word Nazarite or Nazarene comes from, the root word. It is a Hebrew word, Nazar, which means uncut vine. And that represents, and that was what was used to, refer to these Nazarites. They were not supposed to drink alcohol, eat pork, and all those things. So present day Nazarenes are us. Jesus was one, as we said, the man they called Jesus, the man I call Yeshua. Moses and the rest were all part of it. They all had locks. Even Paul in the New Testament had locks. See? Yes. So I will say that it's our own way. When you cut your hair, now they use blade and they put some comb. They you're killing a lot of things in your brain.
Careful, man. Careful, my brother.
See, let your hair grow. Because the hair is a source of power. That is why when you comb your hair and the comb, you take it around, it picks up a lot of things. That magnetic something, it links you to the Almighty. There are some ions and atoms and whatever scientifically that link you there.
Thank you. It's been a privilege. I've learned a lot. I know who you are now. And I'm sure by now you know who the man is. The man they call Black Rasta. And tune to Hits FM. What's your frequency?
Well, 103.9.
103.9. Tune in to 103.9. And what time are you on?
10 o'clock in the morning till 1. And all other radio stations are dead. at that time.
There you go. Tune in and don't miss it. My name is Nana Ansakwa, and you've been watching Personality Profile. Until I come to you next Friday with another personality, thanks for tuning in.